Hare Krishna. Om Gyana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Ram Hare Hare. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the fantastic Friday session. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashta Prayeshu Abadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from text 6 of the Light of the Bhagavat. May I ask somebody to read it? Anybody who is wanting to read it particularly?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, please go ahead. Gopal Krishna Karuna Das.
Text 6. On hearing the sound of the torrential rains, that frogs come out of the mountain caves and behind chant, like brahmacharis who chant the Vedic hymns by the order of the spiritual master. In this age of godless civilization, the sages of the world recognized religious sect who believe in God must come out of their secluded places and preach the signs of God, the supreme will, to the people in general. Hindus, Muslims, Christians, and the members of the other sects that have convincing faith in the authority of God must not sit idly now and silently watch the rapid growth of godless civilization. There is a supreme will of God, and no nation or society can live in peace and prosperity without acceptance of this vital truth. The warning is already there, and responsible leaders of religious sects must meet together and form a common platform of a league of devotees of the Lord. There is no need for self-realized souls to live in the secluded place. Perfect self-realized souls engaged in the service of the Lord are unafraid of Maya, just as law-abiding citizens of the state never fear the police. Such fearless devotees of God always speak scientifically about the experience of God, even at the risk of death. Such devotee of God feel compassion for the mass of people who have completely forgotten the Supreme Lord and engage in the false pursuit of happiness that ends in the sense pleasure enjoyed by the hawks and dogs.
Thank you. Om Tat Sat. I'm reading that sloka from the Bhagavatam. Shrutva Parjanya Ninadam Mandukaha Sasrujurgiraha Tushnim Shayanaha Prag Yadvad Brahmana Niyamatyate. It's very interesting here. The frogs who had all along been silent, lying silent, suddenly began croaking when they heard the rumbling of the rain clouds, in the same way that Brahmana students who perform their morning duties in silence begin reciting their lessons when called by their teacher. Purport: Srila Prabhupada comments, after the first rainfall, when there is a thundering cloud sound in the clouds, all the frogs begin to croak like students suddenly engaged in reading their studies. Students are generally supposed to rise early in the morning. They do not usually rise of their own accord, however, but only when there is a bell sounded in the temple or other spiritual institution. By the order of the spiritual master, they immediately rise, and after finishing their morning duties, they sit down to study the Vedas or chant Vedic mantras. Everyone is sleeping in the darkness of Kali Yuga. But when there is a great Acharya, by his calling, only everyone takes to the study of the Vedas to acquire actual knowledge. So I particularly wanted to, can you put it back into the light of the Bhagavata text? I particularly wanted to read this text for you, because you see how Prabhupada has commented differently. In the Bhagavatam, it has a different connotation, very deep, and the last punch line. And here it is mentioned, it is encouraging people who are saintly, whatever religion they belong to, and they have to have faith in God. They must not sit idly now and silently watch the rapid growth of a godless civilization. There is a supreme will of God, and no nation or society can live in peace and prosperity without acceptance of this vital truth. There, in the light of the Bhagavat, he is writing in a secular way, and he is saying that so much is happening. There is a big sound of thunder, lightning, and clouds, means there's bad things happening in society in Kali Yuga. So all of them should come out, especially those who believe in God. All the religions should join hands, should not fight with each other, should fight an atheistic civilization, should fight the age of Kali, should introduce God in whatever way you want to. Look at the all-encompassing way that Prabhupada is speaking about spreading Krishna consciousness. This is very important. Different faiths should join hand together, and in a society which does not accept God, or which is throwing out God gradually by secularism, by citing inter-religious problems and advancement of science and everything put together, Kali is operating to remove God completely. Remove God completely. And you will see that happening. So-called secular state. This whole concept of a secular state, even accepted by India. In the constitution, you will say India is a secular republic. Means we are not saying any one religion. We don't get involved in religion. Religion can do what they want. But this is politics. It is done by the colonial people, the Britishers. They successfully, pitted the Muslims against the Hindus in India by partitioning India. Then under their influence, India also becomes a secular state. The plan is to make sure that the great Vedic tradition and Indian tradition does not surface. This is the real thing, because the Vedic system of thought is the most powerful in introducing God all over the world. And they want to make sure that happens. They're all agents of Kali. And they have done that. And the stupid Indians have all accepted the Western thought. So Prabhupada is using even those people who are religiously against, each other, saying, no, we should join hands because the real enemy is these guys. They don't even believe in God. And they are the ones creating problems amongst us also. It's a brilliant statement because I read this out in the interfaith conference that I went to in Bahrain. You must have seen, I was the only saffron cloth person among so many people, black dresses people. They were very particular that I don't talk too much. So I was given only 7 minutes. All the others are also given 7 minutes, but they went ahead beyond 7 minutes. I did not know how to do that. And they spoke all sorts of useless stuff. That's all I can say. They don't know who is God. They don't know what they are doing. But anyway, something at least. They believe in some God, something. And some Mayavadi spoke some lousy stuff. That time I understood the greatness of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and his vision for the whole world. Here you can see he's not even, and the other places in the Bhagavatam, he'll say Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's no compromise to it. This guy, that guy, Mayavadis, everything, he'll hit them. But here in the light of the Bhagavad, the same purport I read to you from the other side. See how he's saying, we should all join hands together. He's using all the religious people, say, let's all get together and introduce God in this world. However you want to, that does not matter. Right? So he is here pitching against religious responsible leaders. And they must get together. There is no need for self-realized souls to live in a secluded place. You see, perfect self-realized souls engaged in the service of the Lord are unafraid of Maya, just as law-abiding citizens of a state are never afraid of the police. Such fearless devotees of the Lord speak always scientifically about the existence of God, even at the risk of death. Such devotees of God feel compassion for the mass of people who have completely forgotten the Supreme Lord and who engage in the false pursuit of happiness and ends in the same pleasure enjoyed by hogs and dogs. What brilliant purport. In two different ways, in two angles. So I want to touch upon this idea that Prabhupada is trying to introduce God consciousness all over the world. And he is saying here, we must all get together, Hindus, Muslims, and Christians, and members of other sects that have convincing faith in the authority of God. Right? Amongst the Hindus, whoever has convincing faith in the authority of God, all of them should get together and not watch silently the rapid growth of a godless civilization. So it's a duty of everybody to have faith in God. Without having faith in God, there is nothing good that's going to happen in human society. Nothing good. If at all anything good is happening, it's because of different people having faith in God. Some of them may be Christians, Muslims, they have different types of faith. It really doesn't matter. Even in the Vedic culture, you had people who were of all types, similar to Christians and Muslims. And they were all sheltered by Yudhishthira Maharaj as the king. They were not expected to become pure, self-realized Brahmanas. That was another group, small group. But there were all sorts of people. It is just that the names have changed to Christians and Muslims now. But you find people in the forest, hunters, killing animals and eating, they were encouraged to keep God in the center. They didn't have to separately call themselves so-and-so Christians, Muslims, Hindus, or whatever. But Yudhishthira Maharaj sheltered all sorts of people, all sorts of beliefs and faiths, and tried to bring them along to respect God. That is important. The Mahabharata, if you look at it in a different light, in the original light, you will see that Vedic religion has all sorts of people inside. You have people who eat meat, people who don't eat meat, who are people who worship the demigods, people who don't worship demigods, or people who say the supreme absolute truth is light, is Brahman, and you also have Vaishnavas who say he's a personality and everything. But all these things come under the arm of Vedic religion. And they are all encouraged. And that is what is, in one sense, Hinduism means all these things put together. It's Vedic. But the way Hindus are presenting it now, it's not the same way as it was before, though there are similarities externally. But the internal philosophy has completely changed. They have accepted the Western thought. They have accepted that everybody should be equal in the material sense. They are accepting that certain customs and traditions are wrong because they were practiced wrongly by the fallen Brahmanas. And they are reacting to the fallen Brahmanas and accepting Western thought, and a muddle and mix of all these things together has become Hinduism. The modern Hinduism is reaction to colonialism and a mix of this and that. But real religion, as it presented in the Vedic system, is being presented by Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Because you see here, he's saying Christians, Hindus, Muslims should join hands together. 2 days back or 3 days back, we were reading a purport from the Bhagavatam in the second canto. The purport of, Hirata, Kulinda, what is it? Pulinda Pulakasha, Yabhi, Rusumba, Yavana, Kashadeya, Ye Anye, Papa, Ashrayaha, Suddhanti Tasmai, Prabhavishnave Namaha. A beautiful shloka. Kirata Pulinda Pulakasha, Yabhi, Rusumba, Yavana, Kashadaya. In the second canto, it's mentioned, I think it's somewhere around in the third chapter or something. Kirata, Kirata. If you search for that, you'll get. So it's so wonderful that Prabhupada is bringing in that same old civilization and that old understanding, and he's preaching the topmost apex, Brahmana society. And is here saying we all should introduce God. First of all, the whole world should accept God. That's another job we have. And apart from that, we should explain God properly. And even Hindus have got wrong understanding of who God is. Not only Christians and Muslims. All of them are same, actually. People don't understand who is God. People don't understand who they are. People don't understand what this world is about. All this knowledge should be given, and it is the duty of every person who has understood these things to give it to others. To give it to others. And don't think that each one of us can sit pretty, not doing anything about it. You have to preach God consciousness, and you must learn God consciousness for yourself. These are all very, very important things. This is what is called dharma. If you want to be a dharmic person, you must know who is God, and you must help others become God conscious. Bharata bhumite hoila manushya janma jar, janma shartaka kurikora paro upakar. Lord Chaitanya reflected that same thing. If you're born in India, it's a great fortune. You must perfect your life, and you must work towards perfecting other people's life. Paro upakar you must do. Serve others by making them understand God. This is the greatest welfare work. There's no doubt about it. Everybody, the whole kingdom, all the citizens should be engaged in it. Not just the Krishna consciousness movement. Don't think ISKCON started, Prabhupada started ISKCON, but he wanted the whole government in the world to take up this Krishna consciousness and rule the world according to these principles. Everybody should be Krishna conscious. Or if they are not, at one step lower. If they are not, that also in one step lower. Like the 12th chapter, Krishna says, if you cannot do this, you do that. If you cannot do that, you do that. That's the way the government should be set up. That's how it was in Yudhishthira Maharaj's times. All sorts of people who cannot do it, but know that it is correct, are seeking shelter, and they want to climb up the staircase, and they are all given shelter. They're all given shelter. This is amazing. This is amazing. A very broad understanding, highly accommodative, but at the same time not compromising who is the Supreme Lord. There is one supreme absolute truth that should be introduced to everybody. That is the reality. So these are very wonderful verses. And here in the Bhagavatam, we can see how the example of the frogs is likened to brahmacharis. I'm just reminded, so funny, the brahmachari ashram. When Prabhupada describing like students who suddenly get up in the morning, woken up by the siren, by the guru and all that, and rush up. In a brahmachari ashram, sometimes the trainees, especially the new bhaktas, they'll be given a big gong, bang, 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 they'll come and bang, and everybody will boom, get up and put on their dhoti and rush to the bathroom. It reminds me of that. Rush to the bathroom in the new bhakta place. Everybody wants to sleep. They come and blow the conch shell, they bang the gong at 3:30 in the morning. Everybody gets up like nothing and rushes to the bathroom. quickly comes for Mangalarti at 4:15. They're given 45 minutes. 3:30, they'll be given a big gong. They have to sleep early. By 9 o'clock, they're supposed to sleep. And they'll be talking here, there, doing this, joking and all that. Slowly they go to sleep at 10 o'clock, 10:30 by the time they sleep. So in the morning, they have to be woken up by force. And when they're woken up, they scramble like nothing. It sounds so funny here. The croaking of frogs, when they hear the rumbling of clouds and they start croaking. So Prabhupada says here, an Acharya who's powerful is required in the dark age of Kali where everybody is sleeping to wake them up and make them scramble and go. Prabhupada definitely is that person who came and woke up this whole world with a jerk, gave them a massive shake up and said, wake up, Koto Nidra Jao Maya Pishachira Kole. What are you doing sleeping in the lap of Maya? Brilliant. Yes, I will stop here. I will not speak too much. Any question or comment? Any question or comment?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I have a question.
Yes. Madana Gopal Karuna Das.
Yes, in Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami said in second text, Rupa Goswami saying like we should not follow 6 things. Like we should not associate with non-devotees. We have to Rupa Goswami saying like we should not associate with non-devotees and we should not talk about mundane things. Like, but in this India, in the secular India, how we preach if we follow Rupa Goswami's statement in text 2, we should not associate with other people.
You can without taking association of anybody, you can still interact with them. You can still interact with them. Just like you go to the shop and you buy something, you're a devotee. How can you go to the shop and buy? Because their supermarket, they're selling meat also, they're selling this also, they're selling that also. And I have to talk to these people. You do your business and get out. Nobody is asking you to ask him, how are your daughter? When is she getting married? When should I come home? And when will you come home? When can I come and eat in your house? All this, you don't have to talk to them. Do your job. It's like go to work. A devotee goes to work, he does his job. He smiles at everybody, keeps good relationship, but he's not going to associate. Like, the story in Panchatantra about the crocodile and the monkey. You know the story? Maybe somebody has to tell you that story. The monkey, the crocodile's wife was becoming envious that my husband is spending too much time with his friend, the monkey. So he worked out one very good plan and pretended to be sick, very sick. So the husband, the crocodile, said, what happened to my dear wife? He said, I'm very sick. And then the doctor, I went to the doctor. Doctor has told me that I've got a very serious sickness for which monkey's heart is required. Then the crocodile immediately said, why don't you tell that I have such a wonderful friend, he'll give anything for me. And then when I'll come immediately. And then the wife was thinking, ha ha ha, it's going to work. And then the crocodile went rushing to this thing immediately and told, my friend, quickly come. And the friend, monkey, immediately sat on the backside of the crocodile and went into the river. I have to tell you something very important, very confidential. Yeah, okay, tell me. And right in the middle of the river, the crocodile said, see, this is what, my wife has got a very bad disease and the heart of a monkey is required. I told my wife, my friend monkey will give anything. The monkey immediately got so afraid. My gosh, this bloody thing, this in the middle of the stream, I have no power, nothing. I don't know how to swim. And the crocodile is going to kill me now, this stupid fellow. His wife is a very cunning lady. She's putting this. Then immediately the monkey very smartly thought, Arey, why did you not tell me, yaar? I left my heart in the tree, I don't always carry it around. Please immediately let us go back. I'll get it. I'll do anything for you, for your wife. Bring her back. And the crocodile turned and went to the tree again. And then zip, it went on top and said, I changed my mind. I don't think that I can do this. And send the crocodile away. So this is an example of, I don't want to give you my heart. I can give you my company. I can do certain things, even when I'm a friend of yours. So you can mix with people without associating. in the sense of Krishna conscious association. Don't give your
Maharaj,
heart to them. Don't give your
Good.
heart to them. Only externally do the needful, smile, be diplomatic, cut the ribbon and this thing and all that. But when it comes to drinking alcohol or taking meat, you quietly say, sorry, thank you. I don't take association of yours, like that.
Maharaj, my question is like, we want to preach Krishna consciousness, right? How we preach if they are like that?
First of all, you should understand this is not about preaching.
Mhm.
This topic is not about preaching. It is about getting together on a common platform and fighting atheistic people. It's not that all Muslims, Christians are going to get together and preach to the atheistic people. It doesn't say that. It is just that we have to stand against their attacks and we should loudly proclaim there is God. We should join together. They are doing so much propaganda. We should also do propaganda, join together, and we should fight against atheistic conclusions. Preaching is another thing. Preaching Krishna consciousness is another thing. You don't go and preach bland where you're not accepted. You should very carefully watch and wait. In this situation where you don't sell your heart, you keep talking to people. Suddenly one person will come to you and ask, I have some problem. I want to talk to you personally. Then you talk to him. Then he will talk more and more. I want to do this. I want to do that. Then you preach to him. Only to those people who are favorable in this crowd, you preach to them slowly, and that group will become larger and larger. Then you can, in a bigger way, influence. Preaching happens gradually. It's not that you can get up, take the mic and preach in your office to everybody. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. If you don't agree with me, you are idiots. That's not the way to do it. You lose your job, then you'll come and tell, Maharaj, I preached, I lost my job. I don't think I will chant Hare Krishna. This is very bad. It's because you did something stupid. And that is not what is mentioned by Prabhupada in the books. So please understand carefully what Prabhupada is saying. Just like I said, I went to the interfaith thing. I did not speak there, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I said that I join you, we should all get together and defeat these atheistic fellows. And then when one-to-one conversation I was having to people, they were asking me, what do you practice? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? At that time I was preaching to them. In the main session, I did not say all these things which I am saying to this fellow privately. He also knows he's telling me many things which he cannot say in the main session. Yes, that's the way to preach. Okay. Any other question or comment? All right. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.